A month later, after a great battle destroyed this ring city called the Scourge, the survivors banded together to salvage this and that, blah blah blah. Housing. No one knows where Ghost, Norris, and Reginald are. Calac and Drala tried their cries, but no avail. Perhaps they're no longer in this world. Yes, the same thing. Troops came. There's Scourge, that the civil war that had been raging over the kingdom has ended, or at least paused. There's nothing like war to bring them together. For now, Bonebrow is the same. However, he will always Bonebrow to you in the crowded castle. Even the Sky Garden is being used. Yes, the same thing. And so Azazel ended up winning the contest of godlings. Funny too, since she was a succubus, not even a godling. Well, technically, her one. Kriya sips her wine. Well, technically she is still alive. I also checked my fucking recording, and there is technically ways to obliterate the soul, like transforming into a really strong being in its entirety. That will obliterate your soul, as far as I can tell. I mean, then again, they didn't. I mean, they did say obliterate, but then again, I don't know what they meant by that exactly. It might just be crushed, but who is doing the crushing? But whatever. Now, Kriya sips a wine and says, "I don't think it's funny at all. It seems like we are back to where we were before. We have Nerul again, only with a different face by another name." Well, I'm not so sure. You say Azazel may have more interest than finding a lost love at any cost. She seems more the type to seek other less destructive amusements. You let the sentence die on your lips as you think back to your encounter with Azazel in the body of Maiden Avis. Well, I wonder what, she says, sarcastically rolling her eyes. I know, you have hinted at your unholy fornication several times. It's not my fault she seduced me, you say. Are you sure it's not your fault? She says, leaning over the table, narrowing her eyes at you, or at Hawes, who is lying on the table at her elbow, much to the disgust of many patrons, staring at you with what you estimate as judgment on his pink eyes. In his pink eyes. How can you blame me? If she was capable of winning the contest, how could a simple mortal such as myself resist? Are you trying to make me jealous? She says. That is not what a man does. I do enjoy making you jealous, but that's not it. I just think it's, well, to have been in that way with one that later ascends to godhood. Wait, what? Well, to have been in that way with one that later ascends to godhood, that's something. You bounce your eyebrows. So why not you, a mortal who chose to try out the rooster? That is the most convoluted logic, a revolting proposition I've ever been given, she says, shaking her head. Lying with a succubus is not something you should be proud of. Succubi are loathsome, and it seems likely that you may have been tainted. Everything is in order, let me assure you, my lady, you say, glancing down at your crotch, then raising your mug of ale as though in salute. If you want my affection, why not try another strategy, says Kriya, stroking Hawes's back. I'm not asking for poetry or lavish gifts, but maybe compliment me on my hair, or find an excuse to brush your hand against my wrist. Tilts ahead and expectantly continues. Perhaps not boast about having relationships with a demon and tell me how I must be missing out. I do love your wit, Kriya. Even it makes you harder to snare, you say. Even a simple woman, one without wit, would be unimpressed with succubus coitus, she says, giving you a level look. That's probably true. Perhaps you have had a few too many ales of these, many of these fine ales. You have to press on and say, I just wish you to know that when you choose to give yourself to the rooster, that you're in divine company. Are you going to stop now? She asks. Yes, you say simply. You both pause as you smile at her. She stares back at you in her intense way. A slow smile begins to spread. Although I fear to do so, as finally got you off the subject, I will ask one thing. Yes, you say. What did that godling that rode within your mind do to stop you from having your soul sucked out by the succubus? She was not with me at the time. You had stolen her, remember? You say, pointing at Kree accusingly. You won't let that go, she says, taking another long sip of her wine. Anyways, even had she been with me, she would not have intervened. After all, Egrola is the daughter of Skyas, god of fun. Not that it ended up that fun. It was rather rough on the rooster. Succubus become rough during lovemaking. What a surprise, says Kriya. You smile. She's jealous, you think. What I'm surprised by is that she did not slay you, she says. She intended to, I think, but then she fell in love and spared me, you say with a wink. I wonder how much of that is true. When Egrola rode me, she claimed to be the daughter of Aletheia. That's what this goddess of fun. I've never heard of her, says Kriya. Nor had I, you say. You think such a god would be more popular? She must be newly birthed? Godling of fun, mutters Kriya with a chuckle. She raises her voice as she continues. There does not seem to be much fun in your tale. You and I had fun, you say, through all our sheer dangers. We kept each other safe. We saved each other's life many times. I saved yours a few more times, but then the other way around. But who's counting? She gives you her level look, and you're pretty sure she's about to say something sarcastic, but then she closes her mouth and smiles faintly. I'll admit it wasn't boring. She shakes her head. But fun? You shrug. In any case, I'm having fun now, you say as you raise your hand at the bar bench for another round. Perhaps this is my reward for aiding her. Even though you failed to win the contest, you say, the god of fun is forgiving. I think she appreciates that I tried. Kriya laughs and raises her glass in a toast to Sky as goddess of fun and trying hard. Finally, a god for the people, you shout, clinking your a pint of ale with her wine glass, fortunately not shattering it. As you drink to her toast, you look over and catch Anna Helloflame staring at you, no doubt her attention brought on by your shouting. She quickly looks away, which is a shame since you wouldn't mind giving her a wink or at least a smile. Oh, you shouldn't get on her bad side. It wasn't far from here that the two of you had your rendezvous in the foliage. You peer at her closely, particularly her abdomen, looking for a bump. There is word that Anne is pregnant, and yeah, that's the same thing after that. Wellington, a child may have been taken Anne's womb. Agla has been so determined on the other timing was close, probably a coincidence, you think. She was the godling of fun after all. She could not have foretold and hoped to have involved in the string of the special soul. Your thoughts are broken by the feeling of tug on your cloak. It's Phoebe. She smiles up at you. May I go to the this river thing? We'll go this and that. We call crayfish. Annabelle this and that. And then we ask Gookog, we'll be careful, fine, go get Gookog, they run off. He looks after them as they leave, and that Annabelle is a curious one, she says. I predict she will be trouble, there's an intelligence there, and I dare say, I think she might have a frightening ambition. She is maybe 8 summers old, you say. Frightening ambition, you mutter. Where did she come from again? Says Kriya. I don't know, really, you say with a shrug. Some village beyond the giant's fish. She won't even tell me how she got down this far south. Says she doesn't remember. There haven't been any villages up there for 1,000 years at least, says Kriya into her wine goblet. Yeah, she's probably some creature or something. Before she takes a sip, you shrug again. Right, I don't know. All I know is that by the time I tracked down Phoebe after the scourge, Phoebe and Annabelle were fast friends. I mean, the girl has no kin around her. What's I going to do? I think you did exactly what you should have, says Kriya with a smile. And hiring Gookog to guard them, well, she pauses as she sips a wine. Her eyes not leaving you. That was nice. It was nice, but only something you could easily, but also something you could easily afford. The first thing you did after finding Phoebe and Annabelle was you went and tracked down your mermaid treasure. The first thing you did with the portion of this wealth was hire men to go out and look for your sister to keep her safe. With any luck, your sister will find you. Anyways, thanks to your fame, to aid in this, you have decided to stay put in the Ring City, lest you not both be roving around the world. Well, there he is, the most foolish and adventurer left in this ruin, shouts Thalmor, striding towards you, Horum behind him, dressed like a man this time. Half-elf, shouts Thalmor, a round of fairy fire for this scoundrel and his witch. Pyria, who is busy serving a party a few tables away, looks up and nods. She gives you a faint smile and gets back to work. Even as she serves table, she has her lute slung over her back. She has taken up musicianship in the days since the scourge. Her voice is sweet, but her skills on the flute are still lacking. Yeah, we already heard all about her flute skills. You hope she finds some measure of happiness after what happened with her husband. You heard she has plenty of suitors, no surprise, even of half-elf beauty, yet she has spun them all so far. Hopefully in time, you think. You catch Kriya watching you carefully, the way she does when she really inspecting something. The tables jostle, the dwarves uninvited take seats across from you. The dwarves already have drinks of their own. Thalmor Beard has suds around his lips. Well, you may as well drink with, we may as well drink with you, says Thalmor, since all our actual friends are dead. Thalmor chuckles darkly. Soon enough, we will join them in Hall of Valor. Until then, you will have to do. May the gods bless your generosity, says Kriya without a hint of sarcasm in the voice. Although, of course, it was sarcastic. Both dwarves grin at her, having obviously gotten her meaning and is innocent. Tip back their mugs of ale, taking a long gulp. I hear the silver mines have started up again, you say. And thank Bonder's balls for that, says Thalmor, wiping his beard. With his sleeve, Horum here was so bored, he was starting to talk foolish about joining the hunt. The hunt is what people in Ring City call the expedition that set out to hunt down the giant. Yes, it's the thing that was Maiden Avis must be doing. The Duke is dead, so the hunt is being led by Maiden Avis and Kalak. Yes, this and that. Those few survived into the plane. It takes too much energy to stay in the material plane, or at least that's what Kriya told you. Thalmor slides his eyes back and forth between you and Kriya a few times as he sips his beard and finally says, so, when are you going to put a coal in her forge? He says to you. Excuse me, says Kriya. A baby, says Thalmor, in there. He adds, pointing at the table, underneath of which is Kriya's abdomen. You've got eyes for each other, says that's plain, says Horum. Go do what humans do best. You wink at Kriya. She starts to scowl at you and ends up blushing and looking away. Bonder knows there's no need. Bonder knows there's need for more breeding. Continues Thelma, slapping the table. Horam and I've already have hardly any miners left to oversee. If you get started tonight, in 15 summers or so, we'll get a pickaxe in his hand working the rock. Or 16 summers if you want to spoil him, says Horam. Doesn't make much difference to us. A dwarf has time. Find your own forge to insert coals into, says Kriya. Aim to, says Thelma, scratching his beard. Sending for some dwarven lasses now. Fat and low to the ground. If Duchess has any love for us, that's hilarious. Proclaims Horam. Thelma waves at you and Kriya. Never mind. Any nugget from the likes of you two would be crazy as an owlbear anyway. Not ore for sensible work. Ore for full adventure though, says Horam. Someone for your bards to wail about, says Thelma with a grin behind his beard. Just make sure you get the hairless critter out before you get slain on your own fool adventure, she says, pointing to Kriya. She rolls her eyes. Dwarves do live a long time and are known for their wisdom, you say, winking at Kriya. Kriya sighs. I have a man, you know. And where is he, says Thelma. Kriya doesn't answer, only glares at her drink. You know where Exidius the warlock is? He's in Drala's Tower, probably trying to use up control from Vermal. Whoever he is, he's not half as brave as this one, says Thelma in a suddenly serious tone. Not as lucky, says Horam. Not as handsome by half, you say in a matter of tone fact. Peter sets the ale down before you. Just from the rich smell of it, you know it's top shelf indeed. Peter, give us a tune, something happy, you say, slapping down 3 gold coins. Smiling, she slides the coin away and unslinging the lute. The adventurer's road, that will do nicely, you say, as you reach out and take Kriya's hand. Will you dance with me, my lady? To your mild surprise and delight, she nods, her eyes intent upon you, as you both rise up from the table hand in hand. Holy shit. So, let's review these, right? Maiden Avis is going to be difficult to get into any like meaningful relationship. It's going to take a long time. It's doable with her, but it will take a long time. It will take several years, and considering his luck, he'll probably get murdered at some point. So I can't say that that's the best way to go about shit. But when we go for Anne Hallowflame, he has a comfortable life, but very uncomfortable with Anne and her behavior. So I don't think that's the best thing we want to do, to be honest with you. With what is it? The Pyria one, I think Kriya and Pyria is between these two. Pyria is great because it was just a wholesome ending, honestly. Even her sister got here. And I don't know. It was going to be a very mundane life, though. Then again, and Kriya, it was really good, but it's going to take a while to get her Drala and in with this thing. And on top of that, get rid of that guy. I don't think Drala will ever acknowledge us, considering we are not exactly a magician. She's all about magicians and shit, and what people can provide to her and shit. I don't know. Or maybe she will hold a grudge. So I think I'm just gonna say that Pyria one was the best. I'm not gonna go with anything canon. For me, the story ended right when the Scourge ended. I'm not gonna choose between any of these girls. I don't really care too much. But Kyria and Pyria are the ones, the best ones, I would say. Pyria one was the apex one, I would say. Unfortunately, Kriya's situation is a lot more complex, but regardless, that's this ending, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look at the second ending, which is a weird one. I don't actually know much about the second ending, so we're gonna go with that, where we don't trust who is it? We don't trust fucking Egra, or Oher to be precise. We don't trust him with what he does, and we'll get a choice for that somewhere around here. No last choice. What the hell? What do you mean no last choice? You can only back up one choice at a time. Consider a okay, last checkpoint, I suppose. I'll see you guys in a bit.